On the 20th of July, a truly epical event will take place, a boxing match between novice blogger Jake Paul and legendary Mike Tyson. This is an officially confirmed fight that promises to be one of the most anticipated and discussed events of the year. In July, Iron Mike will turn 58 years old, but he remains a sought-after and desired fighter. This historic event, without exaggeration, will change not only the history of boxing, but the entertainment industry as a whole. During his brilliant boxing career, legendary Mike Tyson managed to earn colossal amounts of money, but ended up bankrupt at the end of his sporting journey. The culprits were lawsuits, deception by promoters, and, alas, a wasteful lifestyle. After hanging up his gloves, Mike tried his hand at various roles: actor, writer, businessman, but the true passion of the public for Tyson has always been associated with his boxing persona. After the already elderly Tyson had an exhibition fight with the equally aged Roy Jones Jr., it became obvious Iron Mike would return to the ring again. All that remained was to await the most lucrative offer. For a long time, there was talk of a rematch with Evander Holyfield, but it all ended in another conflict with promoters. Of course, Mike was a desirable target for many fighters. Even Fedor Emelianenko intended to fight the legend, which the last emperor declared regularly. But Fedor's candidacy also did not suit Tyson. It turned out he was waiting for a completely different opponent. And now he has been found. On the 20th of July, Mike, who will be 58 years old at that time, will fight 27-year-old boxer and blogger Jake Paul. Organizing such a fight, to put it mildly, is disappointing. We all admire Tyson, but he is already over 60. Relatively recently, the same Holyfield stepped into the ring against a fighter a quarter of a century younger than him and went into a deep knockout. There is no doubt that the same will happen to Mike, unless Paul deliberately spares the head of the great veteran. Age is ruthless, especially since Iron Mike has not led the healthiest lifestyle over these years. Yes, Paul can be considered just a rich blogger, but just a few days ago this guy knocked out a professional boxer in the first round. And before that, he defeated several former UFC champions in the ring. Even considering that Tyson will be a couple dozen kilograms heavier than his opponent, Paul will still break the veteran, at least by virtue of an undeniable advantage in speed. Who would be interested in watching such a beating? Yes, towards the end of their careers, Tyson and Roy Jones lost to less renowned fighters, but those were still professionals who had been boxing since childhood. Losing to a blogger with modest boxing experience, moreover by knockout, is a new blow to one's reputation as a legend. How can one watch this, the great Mike Tyson against an ordinary boxer? If you share these doubts, you are not alone. Sometimes, to intimidate his opponents, Tyson would turn on his trademark pendulum, but this is no longer the version whose approach opponents once feared. Yes, he still has technique, but without proper physical form, it is of little use even against a boxer who keeps his hands low and only knows how to swing wildly. Therefore, one should not expect the highest level from this fight, nor a possible knockout from Tyson. Let that be a pleasant surprise. The time of one legend is long gone, and Paul will never level up to Canelo Alvarez. The Tyson vs. Paul fight will gather viewers of all generations and millions of views, possibly even more than modern boxing stars, Canelo. This fight is an intersection of two large segments of the viewing audience: casual boxing fans and fans who grew up watching Tyson's fights in the 80s and 90s, and Jake Paul's huge YouTube audience of 20,500,000 young fans. In the year 2018, Paul said that the main age group of his subscribers was from 8 to 16 years old. Now they are from 14 to 20 years old. Therefore, the fight will be watched by representatives of different generations. The fight will definitely interest tens of millions of people. And which boxers have attracted hundreds of millions of viewers? Muhammad Ali. His exhibition bout against wrestler Antonio Inoki was watched by 1.4 billion people. Only in Japan it was 54 million people. In the modern history of PPV broadcasts, crossover fights between media fighters have been successful. The Floyd Mayweather vs. Conor McGregor fight generated 4.3 million views. Only the Mayweather vs. Pacquiao fight drew more. Jake Paul is the new PPV star. His fight against little-known Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury's brother, drew 800,000 views, surpassing the numbers for his fights against MMA stars. And his fight against basketball player Nate Robinson generated 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. This is significantly more than what such renowned fighters as Canelo Alvarez drew in 2023, 600 to 700,000 for the fight with Jermall Charlo and 450,000 against John Ryder. Mike Tyson remains a sought-after fighter. In 2020, he had an exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr., and the bout between these veterans drew 1.6 million pay-per-view buys. And this is exclusively a boxing audience. Now imagine the astronomical numbers Tyson and Paul will generate, considering the difference in size of their fan bases. It is quite possible that the overwhelming majority of viewers will be Paul's fans, not Tyson's. One of the largest streaming platforms is preparing to edge out current market players. Streaming giant Netflix will broadcast the Tyson vs. Paul fight live. And this is a powerful statement of intent. In 2023, a record 260 million users subscribed to Netflix. And the plan for 2024 is to increase this number to 282.7 million. The Tyson vs. Paul fight will undoubtedly be a powerful boost in achieving this ambitious goal. Moreover, the cost of watching this fight will be included in the monthly Netflix subscription fee. This is not Netflix's first attempt to enter the sports segment. In early March 2024, it showed a tennis match between Rafael Nadal and Carlos Alcaraz. Prior to that, it broadcast the Netflix Cup golf tournament. Moreover, Netflix has signed a 10-year, mind-boggling $5 billion contract with the World Wrestling Entertainment wrestling promotion. Under this deal, the platform will show the weekly Monday Night Raw and the US and monthly PPV events outside the US starting in 2025. A full-scale opening of the boxing direction on Netflix could put an end to competitors. Currently, DAZN has only 20 million subscribers, while Amazon Prime has 230 million. So we may witness another reshuffle in the world of boxing and the entertainment industry as a whole. It only remains to summarize: a knockout from a blogger would deal a serious blow to Tyson's reputation, while his victory over Paul is highly unlikely. Think about it. One of the greatest knockout artists in boxing history is facing a man who only started boxing at the same age that Tyson himself became the undisputed world champion, 21 years old. And Tyson may very well lose, which is more than realistic. Jake Paul has already beaten MMA veterans who are 10 to 20 years younger than Tyson himself. So why would Iron Mike, who sometimes appears in public in a wheelchair or with a cane, and other times pummels a heavy bag in training, be able to defeat such a tough guy as Paul? Let's return to reality. Yes, the Tyson vs. Paul fight looks rather sad from a sporting point of view. Even Conor McGregor commented on it. "Oh my God. I think it's a little strange. I'm not interested in that fight at all. I don't know, I don't understand it. I wish Mike all the best." Promoter Eddie Hearn reacted similarly. "It's sad, but it's a big event, you can't deny that. But Mike Tyson is 60? He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. I'm part of that small percentage of real boxing fans whose heart is broken when I see this." Former UFC champion Michael Bisping also criticized this matchup. "You should be ashamed of yourself. And the biggest joke is that you don't even understand why." Yes, the quality of the fight itself will be very low. Yes, Tyson is no longer that formidable fighter, and Jake Paul is just gaining experience. We are unlikely to see a knockout from Iron Mike, otherwise he would hardly have come out of retirement. And yes, this may be the best fight in terms of ratings for the Netflix platform.